The Adventures of Bobby the Alligator, written by Christine J. Vizard, illustrated by Christina Vizard. The Adventures of Bobby the Alligator, written by Christine J. Vizard, illustrated by Christina Vizard. Bobby the Alligator tells a lie. Hello, boys and girls. I am Bobby the Alligator, and I live in a swamp. I always seem to get myself in trouble and mess everything up. Last week, I really made a big mistake. I lied to my mom, and in the end, I was really sorry. I paid for my lie. I had to do the laundry and all the dishes for a whole week. If you stay around for a while, I will tell you the whole story. It was Saturday. I was playing with Penny. Her mom brought her over to my house. Her mom, Mrs. Gatormint, and my mom are old schoolmates, and every once in a while they get together to have lunch and talk. On these days, I am not allowed to leave the house or play with my friends. My mom always wants me to stay home and play with Penny. I tried to sneak out of the house, but my mom caught me. Why did I have to play with a yucky girl? I hadn't seen Penny since she was little. All I remember was a little alligator who cried and fussed a lot. Why did my mom make me do things I didn't want to? I sat around sulking when Mrs. Gatormint came to the front door with Penny. I wanted to run and hide, but I knew my mom would find me and punish me. To my surprise, Penny had grown. She was about my height. When I looked into her blue eyes, it hit me that she was a pretty girl. I had never played with girls, except with my sisters. We played all afternoon on a rope, swinging into the water. I could not believe that playing with a girl could be just as much fun as playing with my friends. I thought maybe girls aren't so bad after all. I thought that Penny was really cool. So, right before it was time for her to go home, I went into my mom's bedroom and took her beaded bracelet. I gave it to Penny and told her we should secretly be best friends. She thought it was a fun idea. Mrs. Gatormint and Penny went home, agreeing to come back in a week. Well, what a week it was! The next morning, I woke up to the house being one huge mess. My mom was looking everywhere for her special beaded bracelet. When she asked me if I had seen it, my heart started to beat really fast. Then she looked me straight in the eyes. I squirmed and told her that I hadn't seen it. She believed me. I thought that she would forget about her bracelet, but she didn't. The next week, Mrs. Gatormint and Penny came back to visit. The four of us had lunch together. Everything was going great. Then Penny held up her arm to my mom and said, "Bobby gave me this bracelet. We're best friends." My mom's snout opened as she looked at her bracelet. "That's nice, honey. I bet Bobby did a ton of chores to get you that bracelet," my mom said loudly. When Mrs. Gatormint and Penny went home, my mom put me to work. I cleaned the whole kitchen and folded all the laundry for a whole week. I learned that taking something that wasn't mine was wrong. Now I make sure I ask before taking anything that does not belong to me. Bobby the Alligator's Conscience. I am Bobby the Alligator. I live in the swamp with my family. On weekends, I play with my friends and we have tons of fun. Last weekend, I had a terrible accident. If you want to stick around for a while, I'll tell you all about it. It was Saturday morning. I waved goodbye to my mom. My best friend Tommy was meeting me at this old tree that we had carved our names into. It was in the middle of the swamp. We were going to play together. As I waited for Tommy, I saw an old airboat that had been left in the middle of the swamp. I swam over to it. I climbed aboard. It was stuck in the middle of a bunch of reeds. It was covered with orange rust spots, and it had water on the deck. As I stood there, my mind told me, "Climb off the boat, Bobby. Mom wouldn't be happy if she knew I was playing here." I jumped back into the water and swam over to Tommy. He was hanging out near the old tree. "What took you so long?" Tommy said. "I found an old airboat stuck in the reeds and mud," I said. "Hey, that sounds like fun. Let's go and play on it," Tommy exclaimed. My conscience kept telling me that it wasn't a good idea. As I sat there struggling with saying yes or no, Tommy whispered, "Oh, come on. Nobody will find out." He looked straight at me, pleading and begging me. "Okay, Tommy, just for a little bit. Follow me." We swam over to the boat and climbed aboard. We took turns jumping off the boat and doing belly flops. We had a competition to see who could make a bigger splash. When it was my turn, I jumped high up and twisted around, landing with my tail caught in a crack of the edge of the boat. There was a lot of orange rust on it. I yelped and cried out as I tried to wiggle my tail out of the hole. I grabbed my tail to stop it from bleeding. Tommy helped me swim to the shack at the edge of the swamp. We ran in the shack that had a sign written on the outside, "Dr. Boo Boo Mender." The doctor came out of his back office and saw me hunched in the corner. He called Tommy and me to the back of the office right away. Dr. Boo Boo Mender frowned as he looked at my cut. He then told me that my cut needed to be stitched closed and I would need a tetanus shot. I cried out, "I don't want a shot." The doctor said, "Please try to be brave, Bobby. I will wait until your mom gets here." I tried to be brave, but I couldn't help crying when the doctor gave me the shot. It really hurt. Then the doctor stitched my tail up. It looked like he was sewing. I had seen my mom sew my clothes before, but I had never seen anyone sew skin. As I walked home with my mom and Tommy, I tried to hold my tail up high so it wouldn't rub on the ground. Tommy said he hoped I felt better as he waved goodbye and went into his house. My mom and I went home. When we got there, I climbed in my bed because I was really tired. I told her the whole story. When I was finished, she asked me, "What important lesson have you learned from your accident?" I learned that if my conscience tells me not to do something, I should listen, I told her. She smiled and said, "You should always listen to your conscience."